Grade 9. Today we'll be talking about the nutritional needs of our body. And in this chapter, we should be able to answer the following questions. Why do we eat? Do we all need the same amount of nutrients? Are these nutrients all used in the form of energy or to supply us with energy? In order to answer these questions, I want you first to recall with me and to remember the information we studied previously in the chapter about digestion. You know, all the types of food that we eat fall into the 5 categories: proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, vitamins, water, and mineral salts. And after food is digested in our digestive system and at the level of the small intestine, the proteins are transformed into amino acids, carbohydrates form monosaccharides and especially glucose, lipids transform into fatty acids and glycerol, vitamins, water, and mineral salts, they stay unchanged. All these simple nutrients are transported by the blood towards the cells of our body, where they will undergo one of two important processes: either cellular respiration or the process of assimilation. A chapter will be discussed later on about the cellular functions and especially about cellular respiration and assimilation. But for now, all we need to know is that cellular respiration utilizes glucose and fatty acids in the presence of oxygen to produce energy. So it's basically supplies our body with energy. However, assimilation is a process by which amino acids are utilized in order to build new molecules. And this actually you can see in everyday life. If you're going for a sport that requires running and physical activity, you need to eat sugars. You might eat a banana. However, if you're going to the gym to build your muscles, you need proteins, you need amino acids to build up your muscles. So, what are then the nutritional needs of our body? These needs fall into 3 categories: the needs of energy, the needs for building material, and the needs for mineral salts, water, and vitamins. Now, what about our energy needs? As you know, energy is needed by our body, and the unit of energy is always in kilojoules. But the question is, do all of us need the same amount of energy? What are then the factors affecting energy expenditure or needs? Why does a breastfeeding woman consume more energy than usual? And when do you think we consume energy more, in summer or in winter? To answer these questions, we can go to our documents and we can observe here in this document the amount of energy needed by an individual doing moderate activity. You see that 6,700 kilojoules of energy are needed for basal metabolism. What is basal metabolism? Basal metabolism is the minimum amount of energy needed by an individual to survive. It is just the amount of energy needed by us to breathe, for our heart to pump, and for our brain to function, the minimum. So this is the minimum amount of energy needed by an individual. And the average amount of energy used by an individual for basal metabolism is 6,700 kilojoules. Now, also, 2,500 kilojoules approximately are needed for muscular work, 1,000 kilojoules to maintain our body temperature at 37 degrees Celsius, and for example, 627 kilojoules are needed for digestive functions. Now, is this the same amount of energy for all the individuals? Surely not. For example, in document B, we can see that the different individuals having different ages need different amount of energy. For example, the amount of energy needed by an individual increases from 5,700 kilojoules to, when the person is 1 to 3 years old, to approximately 10,000 to 12,800 joules when the person is an adult. And here you can see another factor affecting energy needs. And this factor is being either a girl or a boy. So now the first factor is age, and the second factor is gender. So males need more energy than females, and as we grow older until adulthood, we need more amount of energy, but then this amount starts decreasing back to a lower amount when we are old. However, a man needs more energy than a woman, or a female needs less energy than a male. Now, another factor affecting energy expenditure, as you see in document C here, is the activity. When a person is sleeping, he needs a minimum amount of energy, which is estimated to be by 300 to 400 kilojoules per hour, and it increases to reach 3000 kilojoules per hour when you are doing intensive effort. And this amount of energy is being measured for an individual weighing 60 kilograms. And when I mentioned the mass of an individual, it means that it's also a factor affecting energy expenditure. The more you weigh, the more energy you need. And also, we talk about the physiological state of an individual. For example, this woman here who is pregnant, she consumes 9,400 kilojoules per day, which is greater than a normal woman who consumes 8,400 kilojoules, and also less than that needed by a breastfeeding woman, which is 10,500 kilojoules. And you have to remember that a breastfeeding woman is producing milk, which is rich in proteins, and thus she needs a higher amount of energy in order to supply her baby with milk. The second category for our nutritional needs falls into body building material, which are mainly proteins that we get from cereals, meat, fish, eggs, or from seeds. And this is very important because we need to build our muscles, we need to build our cells, we need to produce our proteins. For example, the enzymes we talked about previously in the digestive system, they are all made up of proteins and they should be produced from amino acids. The third category falls into mineral salts, water, and vitamins, and it's very important for us to hydrate our body with water because a high amount of water is lost during evaporation, during urination, or by sweating, and this amount of water should be supplied either by food or directly from water. And you always have to remember that 60 to 70% of our body is made up of water. Okay? And we see here that dehydration might cause death, and for example, 4 million children per year die in the world due to diarrhea because of the loss of water. And water is very important for our body because it's the medium where all the chemical reactions take place. So as a summing up, we need nutrients. Not every one of us need the same amount of nutrients. This amount depends on age, gender, physiological state, physical activity, body mass, and also depends on the weather, where a higher amount of energy is consumed in winter to warm up our body and keep it at 37 degrees Celsius. Thank you very much.